Good morning, friends. Let's come together and find our meditation posture, our ability to be in one space for a bit. This is Journey Home Meditation's morning sit. And today we're going to do a little bit of shared breath work, contemplate some ideas, and share some poetry. But first, let's just come together in seeking that seat, that resting place. In yoga practices, the body posture, the positioning of the body is called an asana. And that translates roughly to seat. And the thing that I like about words and playing with words is how the depth of meaning of words can change our experience of something. And so when I think about asana in the sense of a body positioning, I think of not a seat as in I'm going to take a seat, but I am becoming the seat. This is the seat where my soul is resting, the seat where my spirit comes to rest. And for me, that connects me right into what spirit is, and just simply using the language, spirit is breath. So this is a place where my breath comes to rest, to find its seat in my body. So let's come together, find the asana for our breath. Beginning with just a few simple breaths and a little bit of awareness, a little bit of attention. That's the invitation. That's the opening into a meditation practice. Whether you intend to sit in a silent meditation retreat or just having a few moments in your morning or before you go to bed after working a third shift, whatever it is that's bringing you here in this moment. The invitation of sitting with the breath is a way that we can sort of put out the welcome mat to our own consciousness, really. To be fully aware of who we are in this moment, what we are doing, and how we are being. And it's really no big deal. It's just a few breaths that we're going to take together. So don't get too wrapped up in am I doing this correctly? And what are all the ways I must be doing this wrong because the world's still an imperfect place, whatever it is. Don't get too caught up. It's simple as a few breaths. So let's find our body positioning here that's going to facilitate that breath. We want to, if you're seated as I am on a mat or pillow on the floor, I put a second pillow underneath my butt and kind of elevate my hips a little bit so that my knees and my legs aren't feeling the stress and strain, causing me to crouch in my lower back and bring my shoulders crumbling in over my chest. This simple pillow underneath can help to sit in a way that allows the spine to straighten and lengthen more. After years of sitting in American furniture, my spine's not going to straighten completely. My posture is not going to correct itself with a few breaths, but the opening of my body is a big difference. Little shift, big difference. So bringing your shoulder blades together just a touch in the back by placing your palms facing upwards, resting gently on your lap. You might be standing or lying down, wherever you are. The practice here is to move our body into a position to receive and release breath. So I'm going to invite the bell, at which point we can breathe in through the nose to the bottom of the belly and breathe out of the mouth, slow and controlled, and breathe out entirely. We want to make sure we're getting everything out so that we open up to receive fresh breath. Invite the bell. Breathing in through the nose. And out. And in. And release. And in. Release. Feeling the shift already in my body as I bring the attention in, I start to warm up. So, which is nice on these chilly fall mornings, to come into a cold meditation hall. There's something special about this practice this time of year, and I'm just really filled with gratitude to be able to be here in this space and to maintain this shared practice. So thank you for participating, and thank you for contributing to the conversation. I love receiving messages, and I want to point out that wherever you are watching this, you might have a chat feature available to you. And if you do, I'd encourage you to use that chat feature as you can find yourself connecting to other people who are also sharing this practice. And there is something really special about that. Okay. I was, we've been doing this module of death midwifery training, end of life doula training, with a small collective of folks here at Journey Home, working together with Doorway into Light, a school, through an internet class. And revisiting a lot of these foundational teachings of death midwifery is such a great reopening into practices and thoughts that honestly are never really far from my mind and never really far from my conscious awareness, doing the work that we do, but to revisit them again from a place of newness and unveiling is has really been beneficial for me. And one of the core, pillars, one of the things that really make up the foundation of the work of death midwifery is how we work with suffering, how we either experience suffering, how we sit with suffering, what we do with suffering. And this has been the basis of a lot of religious teachings as well. How we move through suffering in our life. So a lot of my thoughts have been coming back to this idea of capacity. Yesterday I talked about our capacity to receive is also our capacity to release. And our capacity to release is our capacity to receive. And that simple lesson is taught with the breath. You can only breathe in as much as you can breathe out. And how important that exchange being constant really is. And the simple act of bringing our awareness to it allows us some agency and ability to make a shift to facilitate that breath. You may find that you're breathing shallow in through your mouth right into your chest a lot in your day. This is a symptom of, or a product of, low level or even high level anxiety. But consistent anxiety will put us in that place of fight or flight pretty quickly and leave us there for extended amounts of time. And that level of stress from being in that dysregulated central nervous system, that feeling of maybe being under attack in some way, lends itself towards a domino effect of issues with our body. So that small act of just noticing the breath, just bringing our conscious awareness and our attention to our breath really can have a huge beneficial shift in the long term. The more we are able to stay present with the breath and with the knowledge that my capacity to receive whatever is coming in to me in this world can be seen in the way that I'm breathing. And the times when I intentionally slow my breath and take nourishing deep breaths, I feel I'm more calm and more able to receive whatever information is coming to me because I'm being satiated by the breath. I'm being filled. And as we extend these microcosmic practices into the macrocosmic realities, right? As I start with my own breath and my ability to breathe in and to breathe out. and I feel my body start to relax, there's this ripple that extends outward through all the layers. That's the microcosm and the macrocosm. On the larger scale, the more I am able to not just accept what's happening in the world, but to meet it with an openness, the more my capacity for receiving the nourishment of this experience is increased. And as we talk about that in terms of suffering, there's a lot of teachings that go back a long way about suffering. But one that we return to often comes from a Japanese teacher who says that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And that sounds really flippant at first. When you first say it, like you choose to suffer. If you're suffering, it's because you choose that, And that comes with its own blind spots, right? That comes with its own, and it's not blind spots in that's not true. Maybe there is a lot of truth there, but when we talk about truth, we are often seeing truth from our subjective place of what our truth is. But the way that we get to those truths are going to be different for each of us. And so the way that I may paint the picture of the option of suffering may seem insensitive or even unaware of others' suffering. So I want to clarify some of this practice for ourselves so that we can understand what it means to have optional suffering. So for me, when I talk about the option of suffering, I don't actually believe it's a choice as in like which frozen yogurt flavor do I pick at the at the Froyo bar, Dole Whip, by the way, is the correct answer. But if I can think about the option of suffering being equivalent to how much I resist that suffering is the amount to which I engage with it. And then it starts to shift a little bit. It starts to shift. And it's fruitless to compare suffering. It doesn't make any sense to compare as if one level of suffering is more important than another. It's that judgmental way of seeing the human experience that lends itself towards this feeling of isolation, separation, and desperation that we see is so prevalent. So I want to be real wary and real cautious of comparing one suffering to another. We can see the terror of some suffering in the world, and we can see other suffering as difficult, but really that's just a matter of what we're willing to embrace and what we can sit with in our own body. Some suffering is just too much. Some days, some suffering is too much. But as I increase my capacity to receive, then I also increase my capacity to love. See, there's all of these equations that we have. I had a teacher that used to teach that our capacity for love is equal to our capacity to receive. And then I'm talking about how our capacity to receive is equal to our capacity to release. And so now we've got this toilet paper math that's occurring. 36 jumbo rolls equals 72 regular rolls. And then we start getting all wrapped up in the thought world. But if we can look at it essentially like this, the more that I can be with the knowledge that my suffering is the story that I have about my pain, the more that I can sit with that story without judgment and love it and understand why it is I would have that story and how real that story is for me in that moment. And the more gentle I can become around that story of suffering, the more I will be able to sit with the suffering of others without this belief that I have to eliminate it from their lives or from my own. I think that what many of us learn at a young age is that the expression of pain is met with almost punishment, near punishment. And it's not so explicit as that. It's not so direct that one would say, oh, I'm in pain, and somebody would necessarily be punished. Some people are. I remember expressing being in pain and being told, I'll give you something to cry about. Sure, that happens. But more so the lesson is, no, don't be in pain. Let's take away your pain. Here, have a cookie. Now aren't you happy? Here, let's watch some TV. Now aren't you happy? Here, let's go buy something. Now aren't you happy? And it becomes this endless pursuit of happiness as the tool to escape the pain. But the pain never goes away. There's never been a time in human history when people didn't experience pain. That's just a reality of having a body. And there are some truths about pain that are common, that are universal. And one of them is all pain is felt in your body. Every bit of pain you'll ever have is felt in your body. That's emotional pain. You feel that in your body. That's psychological pain up here. You feel that in your body, your hands, your skin. Everything becomes a sensory receptor of pain. Spiritual pain. We feel that. We feel this dragging, like we're hooked to weights that we're dragging through the world. That's spiritual pain. But all of it is experienced in the body. And every body experiences pain. So this endless pursuit of a way to not be in pain has led us down this path of always running away from ourselves and running away from each other. And that decreases our capacity to sit with pain, which increases our suffering. Now when pain does occur, it's not just pain, but it's failure, it's loss, it's abandonment, it's rejection, it's all of these ways in which we have developed a story that if I am in pain, I am no good to anyone else. And we suffer. And suffering is this strange belief often that I am the only one that feels this pain. Suffering is this isolating feeling that I am going to suffer this pain alone. I'm going to feel all of this on my own, and you can't possibly want to be with me if I'm feeling this pain. It's a belief. It's a belief that many of us struggle with on a daily basis. So right there it is. This is when pain is an option, not a choice as in like one thing or the other, but the ways in which we have chosen to respond to our pain lends itself to the ways in which we feel that we suffer uncontrollably. We lose our agency. So I don't want to sound flippant when I read that quote by that Japanese author that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. But when you start to learn small ways in, it's very small ways, you start to learn these small ways in to being with suffering. This is the practice of compassion. And, you'll hear it, I'll even say it, compassion for others and compassion for the self. But that's really, I don't know if it's redundant, it would be the proper word there, or if it would be, I don't know. It feels redundant because there is no difference in compassion for the self and compassion for others. They have to be the same thing, and this is why. Without the recognition of the absence of the separation with suffering, then there is no compassion. And I want to say that again. Without the recognition of the absence of separation, okay, there is no compassion. Because the word literally translates to shared suffering. Compassion as an idea, as a foundation of that idea, is this notion of shared suffering. It's the recognition that you suffer and I suffer. So we both know what it is to suffer right now. And I'm here, friend. And that doesn't mean I'm here to fix you. And that doesn't mean you're here to fix me. The fixing that's a consequence of the shift of our view. The fixing is the consequence of the shift of our capacity. That's all downstream. But in the being with, that is the invitation. That's the opening. Just to simply be with. And one of the other truths about pain is that we often tend to function from this belief that if I can cause pain for my enemy, it will reduce my pain. And it's not true. There is no amount of pain that we can create that would reduce our pain. And so we suffer things that we say are insufferable. We suffer this separation from people based on all of these invented divisions. And it creates a massive amount of pain and suffering in the world. It's the foundation of genocide. It's the impetus for colonization. It's the maintenance of systems of hierarchy and imbalance that utilize racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, all of these ways of separating us. All of those systems are the outcome of the inability to recognize the lack of separation in our suffering. It really can come down to that. And so we treat our pain the way that we treat our anger. We try to diffuse it by pushing it onto each other. You can do that with anger. You feel anger, you can yell at somebody and diffuse yourself of your anger. But it doesn't work that way with pain. And we confuse those two because often when we feel pain, we express anger. So we think that those are really closely related things, that it might even be the same thing, that pain and anger might be the same, but they're not. They're just, one is the expression of an reaction to the other. Anger is my expression from a reaction to my experience of pain. I think I'm getting a little off track. I mean, not really. I'm on point. I'm on track with what I want to say, but I don't want to keep going down rabbit holes. This is a lot of information, and my brain is tired of processing it all. So I want to get to a poem, and then we will say goodbye for the day. We're going to pick right up where we left off from Bell Hook's phenomenal work, Appalachian Elegy, Poetry in Place. And we are on number 37 today. Stained black, Kentucky oak plank fences mark boundaries. Ghost riders where the dead live on the edge of time. Slaves worked here long ago, caressing horse flesh, breathing shared dreams, cared for them when witnessing the breaking of yet another animal spirit. Born to be wild and free, a bond forged, whisper to forgotten souls, run, run. Go as fast as you can, run, run. Seek an end to bondage. Man, it almost feels like everything before this poem culminated into this piece in this book. Stained black, Kentucky oak plank fences mark boundaries. Ghost riders where the dead live on the edge of time. Slaves worked here long ago, caressing horse flesh, breathing shared dreams, cared for them when witnessing the breaking of yet another animal spirit, born to be wild and free, a bond forged. Whisper to forgotten souls, run, run. Go as fast as you can, run, run. Seek an end to bondage. That's number 37 in Bell Hook's Appalachian Elegy. I cannot recommend getting this book enough. Whether you can find a used copy of it in a local used bookstore, or buy a new copy in a local bookstore, or you could go find the PDF version of this online. Whatever it is you're doing, try to get this book, because it is just such a phenomenal testament, and it's exactly pointing to the work that we are doing here together in these morning sits. This whole practice is seeking an end to bondage. That's the whole practice, period. It's a liberation practice. And this is exactly talking about shared suffering. Where the dead live on the edge of time. Slaves worked here long ago, caressing horse flesh, breathing shared dreams, cared for them when witnessing the breaking of yet another animal spirit. That's compassion. That's what we're talking about. To care for someone as you witness them suffer, and to be with your own suffering. This is our capacity. Let's just have a few moments together. I'll invite the bell. We can take some breaths and just let that poem really ruminate. Thanks for being here today, everyone. And I hope that the ability to bring our attention to our breath today helps us to start to see where it is we are more capable maybe than we thought. And noticing where those spaces are that we're holding on to things that can just be let go of. Letting go is not forgetting. Forgiving is not pardoning. That's something a friend of mine said yesterday. My friend Mark said, it's important to remember that forgiving is not a pardon for what someone's done. But it's important that we forgive. It's important that we let go. And let go just means releasing my grasp on that something has to stay what it is. Allowing my capacity for change. Allowing my capacity for shift. Gosh, there's so much there. We could talk about that for days. So, thanks for being here. Utilize the chat feature. Come back and send messages. Communicate with one another so we can start to build our understanding of this world a little bit better. Communication really, really is the thing that breaks those boundaries of fear. So try it out. Share some of your story. Get feedback, input. Ciao. Thanks.